And it is the only such method in the world that does that with scientific samples. You might have very small groups. There's some designs like juries that try to do this, but it turns out all the things that go wrong with discussions are characteristic of juries, because the pressure for consensus doesn't give you a real consensus. It produces, it doesn't, juries are too small statistically to be representative, just like focus groups, and the social pressure of reaching a consensus will actually lead to even more polarization. So we get our opinions in confidential questionnaires, and the people during the discussion don't have to say where they stand, they're just discussing the competing arguments. So we get what the individuals really think about the issue before and after deliberation. And just to summarize the process, we first need balanced information. And of course, in different contexts, we get a briefing document of some sort about the issues that are on the agenda. And we've also talked about and done some projects where we have video versions of the briefing document, or oral versions, or we make provisions for less literate participants. But the point is, there's an agenda of some possible choices, competing policy options, or competing choices, or issues where the question is, what are the priority issues? That's really what the Ghana people are talking about, the priority issues for resilience. And so ranking the priority issues for resilience in vulnerable communities. And indeed the mock deliberation we're going to have tomorrow is amenable to that, because it's based on some work we did in Brazil, where there were different areas for investment, very different kinds of areas for investment, all of them urgent, but which were the most urgent? You have to consider the pros and cons. So there's some kind of a document. How do we get such a document? Well, we have a small working group, which would consist, I assume, with some of the people here, but we also get a broader advisory group of relevant stakeholders who represent different points of view, maybe with the relevant community as well, who are willing to look at the materials and suggest revisions until they agree that it's balanced and any information in the document is accurate. And if information is contested, then you get competing accounts of what different factions think the real information is. So that, and it also has to be accessible. So it's a bit of a, it's a big deal to write such a document, even though sometimes they're quite short. You know the old saying, if I'd had more time, I'd have made it shorter in terms of writing. And so that's the thing, it's got to be edited for accessibility and supervised for balance and accuracy. So in the process of doing the deliberative poll, you need at least a draft, an initial draft of this. And then what we do is we come up with an initial questionnaire. And as you know, writing a questionnaire is a bit of an art and a bit of a science. And we have certain questionnaire formats that we